Hi guys, it's Tennille from Paper Milkshake, and today I've got a really fun tutorial for you. So today I'm going to be making these ice block containers. Now for our Australian viewers, you will recognize these as our iconic ice block Callipos. So basically I was inspired by the Callipo ice block to make these containers, which obviously I've added my own twist by putting a pom-pom trim at the top and doing some stitching at the bottom. But for my US and UK viewers, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about because I don't know whether you can get Callipos over there. Now, I was inspired to make these because I think they make really cute pom-pom holders for my pen pals. So I can fill them up with confetti or pom-poms, or I can even fill them up with straws, candies, lollies, chocolate, confetti. Options are endless. So here are three that I experimented and made last night. I used a pink acetate, a Basil Basic acetate, to make this one. Then I used the Craft Market pattern paper, which I love, to make this one and this one. So this is one side of the craft paper confetti paper, and this is basically the B side of that paper. And look how cute they turned out. So I haven't sealed these yet because obviously I want to fill them up with goodies. And once I've decided what I'm going to fill it up with, I will fill them up and then seal it right at the end. And then I just added a pom-pom trim and also a dangly charm on the end of them, or on the top of them. So they are super duper cute, and I showed you a preview of these on my Instagram. And today I'm actually going to show you how to make them. And guys, it is so easy. So easy. So let me put this aside and we'll get started with the tutorial. So the first thing you will need is a template to work off. I thought about using the Callipo, but Callipo is a very sweet lemonade flavored ice block. And I thought that it would be very sugary and sticky, and that by the time I actually washed it, the paper might disintegrate. So instead, I came across this little toy at my local toy store, and it was basically like a charm bracelet packaging. And it's basically exactly the same as the Callipo, so it turned out to be really perfect for this project. What I did was I obviously took out all the content. Then I very carefully peeled this paper apart. This has a very waxy finish. Obviously we're just using some normal cardstock or pattern paper, so it won't have that waxy finish, and you don't really need it. And I've just pulled it apart. Now, as I was experimenting with this, I had a lot of trouble getting that sort of rolled top effect on the rim of the ice block container. So that's why I opted instead to add the pom-pom trim, and I just think it looks so pretty and whimsical. So once you've got your template, and do have a look around on Google or Pinterest to see if you can get a similar template. Otherwise, have a look in your nearest supermarket ice cream freezer and see if you can find something similar. So today I thought that I would make one out of my favorite bloom paper, which is this one here with all the colorful crosses. So let me just jump to it. And actually one of these 12 by 12 pattern paper will make you two of these containers, and you don't need to double side them because it's not a very big structure. Single ply is totally fine for this project. And this bloom paper bag I bought from my local Spotlight store in Sydney. So just to save myself a little bit of cutting effort, I will line the edge of this up to the edge of my 12 by 12 sheet. I'm actually going to turn my sheet of paper upside down so that my tracing will end up on the B side and not at the front of the container, just because this template is quite flimsy and I'm likely to kind of miss the outline. So you will see what I mean when I get to the top in particular, because it's quite frayed at the top. So holding down my template quite firmly, I'm simply going to start tracing. Not sure why I tried to do that left-handed. So I'm just tracing very lightly so that I can follow the form of my template as closely as I can. If I apply too much effort at this point, I may kick into the paper and that's not going to do me any good. So just tracing very lightly. By all means use a pencil. I just don't have one handy, so I'm using my pink Muji pen instead. Now this part is tricky, but don't be too worried because the top of this will be covered by a pom-pom trim anyway, so you really don't need the tracing here to be perfect. Just get the general gist of the size of it, you know. Okay, there is my template. Very easy. And not a lot of cuts are required. There's simply 3 edges. I thought this project would look really cute with carousel. So if carousel is the only paper you have available, by all means use that. You could really use any of the pretty pastel colors from any of the Maggie Holmes ranges, sorry, like Confetti or Cute Girl, Gather, Chasing Dreams. And I was actually inspired, of course, by All Heart to make this. Now that's popped open because this acetate is quite stiff. The double-sided sticky tape wasn't enough. So after this video, I will go in with my hot glue gun and try and fix that. I haven't had any problems with the other 2 ice block containers popping off. So it seems to be just the acetate that's a little bit stiff and wants to pull apart. So for this project, because I'm just using paper, the double-sided sticky tape will be fine. That's it, my template's all ready. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my bone folder, and we want to be careful here because these have a rounded edge. We don't want to fold them down and create a very sharp fold. All we want to do is maybe for the first 2 inches of the project, do a very solid fold and the rest of the lines will follow through. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So what you need to do is make sure that the bottom edges line up. So where that scallop meets this middle scallop, that's basically where your fold line is going to be. And we just want to fold again just the first 2 inches of the side, pressing down. Do not press down the rest of the ice cream container or the ice block container, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. And if you get this part right and you've traced it reasonably carefully, these 2 should meet right in the middle on your double-sided sticky tape. So folding that back out, I don't have any narrow double-sided sticky tape, so I'm actually going to have to use what's left of this. Actually, I do have another roll, so I'll grab my other roll. And of course, if you do have a narrow double-sided sticky tape, it would be most useful for this project. So I'm just going to measure that up roughly. And feel free to, if it makes it easier to cut, do it in halves. Because trying to cut this all the way over a long strip of double-sided sticky tape is probably going to cause you a lot of problems with the, you know, the double-sided sticky tape trying to stick to your scissors. And I just realized because that yields 2/2, I didn't even need that long piece in the first place. So double-sided sticky tape, go from the bottom. And at this point, I don't want to make that fold any more prominent, so I'm going to lay it flat. Keep going. Pressing down quite firmly. There we go. So turning that over, all we're going to do now is press down on the bottom. Just check that your alignment is good, which it is. And then you just want to gently kind of fold that down. Now it's a bit tricky because you're not getting any force on the other side of this. So what's really handy is if you've actually already made 2 or 3 before, and obviously you won't have any if this is your first one, you can just stick them in and use them as your guide. And at this point you can actually press quite firmly using your thumb, just pushing that down all the way to the bottom. Now I didn't do the best job up here with my with my double-sided sticky tape, so I'm just going to seal that off with a little bit of glue at the top. Now you could even, if you're worried about this popping off, you can add a bit of washi tape and just like a bit of gold washi tape, run it all the way down the center, and I think that would add quite a nice interest to the project as well. So at this point, I'm going to grab my sewing machine and do a little bit of stitching down here. Now all I'm doing is doing 2 rows, and it can be quite wonky. I think it just adds some character to it. You're going to just do 2 rows of stitching following that curved line on the bottom. So there's my stitching done. Now as you can see, I wasn't too careful about the straightness of the stitch, and it ended up being really wonky because I went forward there, but instead of turning the project around because it doesn't fit this side of my sewing machine, I actually reverse stitched there, and it is not straight at all. But I don't really care. I think it just adds charm to the project. Now the original packaging, which I think is also the same with the Calipos, is if you can see it, they've actually just done curvy scores along the bottom, so it gives this cinched effect to the project. But I think stitching is really cool. I think stitching just adds that little bit of a handmade touch to it. Okay, so now I'm gonna warm up my glue gun, and while that is warming, I will be able to cut out my trim. I've got one of those glue guns that don't actually take very long to warm up at all, so I don't know if you guys do this as well, but I just have an old square piece of cardboard lying around, and I use that to lay my glue gun on while it's warming up. So as you can see, this one goes actually quite nice with the Craft Market collection. Like, you really don't have to stick with Bloom, and you don't really have to stick with any collection, just color coordinate as you wish. So I think I'm going to go with a peachy pink pom-pom trim. I'm just going to measure that out. Now, since I'm waiting for that glue gun to warm up, I am going to stick some washi tape on that, and just to experiment and see how it actually looks. I'm going to go with a very metallic gold washi. And what you can do is fold over the washi at the top, since that's all going to be sealed by your pom-pom trim anyway. And guys, pom-pom trim is totally optional. It really is just to make the project look a little bit more extra. But I think the washi tape will probably give it just that extra seal. I'm gonna just pop the ones I made earlier back in as a guide and a little bit of resistance for me to push that washi down. So I don't mind the look of the washi. You may not like it. And again, it's totally optional. It's just to give it an extra seal. If you don't want to put the washi down and you're still worried about it popping out, put some glue, hot glue on it. That's all you gotta do. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we're just going to start at the seam and make our way around. Okay, my glue gun's doing funny things today. Let's have a quick look. It's not wanting to ooze any glue out. There we go. We're in business. Just going to do probably a quarter at a time. My alignment's not great, but that's okay. It's the end of the world. Just that last bit of glue at the end there. Oops. That's my pom-pom trim done. How cute. So I used a pretty fine pom-pom, which is the same as this craft market one that I've done, but you can by all means use a chunkier pom-pom, which I quite like the look of as well. And that's pretty much the project done, up to the point where you now need to just decide what you want to fill it up with, what kind of goodies you want to fill it up with. You could even put some pretty small embellishments in there if you want, and lots of colored shreds of paper. Now, I haven't thought too much about, you know, the top of it, but let's have a go with perhaps some vinyl. I think vinyl could be a very good option, so let's give that a go. I just bought this vinyl off AliExpress, and all I'm going to do before I even peel off the protective backing is I'm just going to trace it. And I don't think this is going to turn out very well at all, because this little template is just the flimsiest little thing. But I've got the outline of it, so that's better than nothing, and it'll probably be enough for me to just faintly see where the line is to do my cut, especially in the light. It's not going to be perfect. And I might want to just do a little bit of a tab like I have here, but I'm going to make mine with straight edges because it's easier. Sometimes I think I should just rename my YouTube handle to The Lazy Crafter. I'm just such a lazy crafter, and I don't do anything like with any kind of precision at all. See, this is just turning out to be the wonkiest circle, but I'm really just doing this for the purpose of showing you, you know, the gist of how to do this. So that's, I'm just going to peel off the protective backing, but that's pretty much going to be the, ooh, sticking to my fingers. That's basically just going to be the cap of your container. Now I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to glue it on now because I haven't yet filled, obviously haven't yet filled these up. So that outline's too big for the this particular container. So you can just trim it until it fits really. Fiddle around with it. You could even put it down and like trace it before you put the pom-pom trim on, that kind of thing. I would suggest maybe some hot glue. So just grab your hot glue gun, do a little circle ring around it and pop it on. But there, you know, don't seal it if you don't want to. I think it'll be quite a pretty project just on its own, unsealed, if you've got some pretty straw sticking out. Another great option is to actually grab your cellophane and maybe a square piece of cellophane, pop it over, put like a little wired tie around it, something like this, your wrapping tie. Okay, so cellophane over the top without the pom-pom trim, cellophane over the top, wrapping tie around it, and that's it. You know, or even some ribbon. Some ribbon would be very pretty and very effective. So that's it, guys. Thank you for crafting with me. Thank you for watching my tutorial. I hope this is a very fun and easy project for you to try out. If you do give this a go, please tag me on Instagram so I can come and check it out and give it a thumbs up. And I can't wait to see you all give it a try and show me what you come up with. So my Instagram handle is the same as my YouTube channel name, which is Paper Milkshake. Thanks so much, guys. Please give this tutorial a thumbs up if you liked it, and do comment below if you have any suggestions for future videos. I can do more hauls, I can do more tutorials, project shares, etc. And I will be filming another tutorial coming up very soon. Have a lovely evening, guys. Bye.